In Oshkosh, Wisconsin, 1985, at a Renaissance fair, TVA Minutemen emerge. A variant is identified and followed by the team into a tent. The commander is placed under a green spell, and she takes out the team while the variant watches. As she is released from the spell, the variant kills the last Minuteman and takes his tracker along with the unconscious commander through a time panel. Miss Minutes quizzes Loki on Nexus events. He angrily bats at her hologram with his magazine until she disappears into a monitor. Mobius picks up Loki and gives him a TVA jacket. They meet with Hunter B-52, who tells them about the attack. Enough tempora aura has been collected to identify the fugitive as a Loki variant, but they are unsure which one. The team arrives at the Ren Fair shortly after the event, so as not to further damage the flow of time. Mobius and the team quiz Loki further on TVA protocols. At the scene, Loki explains his variant's intentions and suggests an ultimatum, which Mobius refuses. The reset charge goes off, pruning anything from outside the present timeline TVA body's weapons, a chi set. Back at the TVA, in Judge Renslayer's office, Mobius discusses the mission. The two draw comparisons between Loki's behaviors and each other's. Mobius asks if there is a possibility that this Loki variant is acting differently than the others they have caught because he truly wants to be better. The judge proclaims the only possibility of that would be if the timekeepers decree it. Outside the judge's office, Loki defensively tries to explain his deception in the field. Mobius identifies his naivete in believing that Loki's need for validation would drive him to want to help. He then calls out Loki on his plan to hijack the sacred timeline after meeting with the timekeepers. Mobius assigns Loki to review the previous variant's crimes in an effort to figure him out. Loki reads through the papers, noticing the pattern of murdering the Minutemen and stealing their reset charges. Bored, he tries to goad a librarian into letting him read other files, but she provides him with another dossier filled with Loki variant case files. Loki comes across the case file for the destruction of Asgard in Ragnarok, which hasn't happened yet to Loki's knowledge. He missed that part on his file. Loki tells Mobius that his variant is likely hiding out in apocalypses. Loki and Mobius discuss the chaotic alterations of a predetermined outcome, which could produce a new timeline. He suggests trapping the Loki variant in Ragnarok. Mobius laughs off Loki's theory but humors the conversation. In Pompeii, Italy, just prior to the surge eruption of MT, to play a prank on the townspeople, Loki frees some goats and proclaims, in Latin, that he is there to bring dark tidings and that they will all die. At that moment, the volcano erupts. Mobius picks up no-time variant's energy in Loki's actions. Mobius returns them to the TVA. Now chasing a new hunch, Mobius and Loki investigate doomsday disasters to pinpoint exact locations where the variant might be hiding. The two take a break and Mobius shares his love for jet skis with Loki. Even though he can never own one, Mobius keeps a magazine from the 1990s on jet skis to remind him of what they are fighting for. Loki begins to talk once again about the timekeepers and how they created the TVA and Mobius. Mobius shoots back with the question of how Loki came to be, extrapolating from that how Loki's existence as a god of Asgard is no different. When Loki reminds Mobius of a name he once called him, Mobius remembers the gum from the previous episode. They track the gum to a time period and search it for doomsday events. Loki identifies the location as an apocalyptic event in Alabama in the year 2050. Mobius discusses the mission with the judge. Ravonna expresses her concerns for Loki, which Mobius responds to with enthusiasm for catching the variant. Ravonna reluctantly approves the mission but tells him there won't be much she can do if it doesn't work. The lead hunter B-15 identifies the event as a Class 10 apocalypse. The team arrives in Haven Hills as a cataclysmic storm is tearing through the area. The team arrives and enters a Roxcart superstore. B-15 orders Mobius to leave Loki with her. Loki agrees, much to Mobius' chagrin. In the surveillance room, the variant watches and sets a timer. Loki attempts to talk to B-15, but she silences him. They approach a customer. Loki advises B-15 to interrogate the customer. The customer grabs B-15, placing the green mind control spell on her before fainting. The spell causes B-15 to act as an avatar for the variant, who engages Loki in conversation. Mobius and his team come to a shelter within the store, where one of the hunters frantically begins to search a bag. When Mobius confronts him, another hunter arrives with news that he found C-20, the captured hunter from before. Loki discusses the situation with his variant before she passes the spell onto a store employee and then promptly faints. Loki now challenges his variant to show his true form rather than hide behind innocence. Loki proclaims his intention to overthrow the Timekeepers. The variant's avatar expresses his disinterest while the real variant sets a reset charge. Mobius speaks to C-20, who tells them that she told Loki where the Timekeepers are. B-15 wakes up and looks around, appearing afraid. Loki catches the variant's reset charges but is attacked by a much larger avatar. The two fight as Mobius and B-15 reunite. The variant sets another timer as Loki gets up to confront the avatar as the variant removes his mind control from it. Behind the avatar, the variant reveals itself as a female Loki, who sends the reset charges to different locations in time before detonating. This creates several Nexus events. The TVA witnesses all this, causing all hunters, Minutemen, and even the judge go into action. The variant opens a time panel and waves to Loki as she walks through it. Mobius and the team run to Loki demanding he wait for them, but Loki follows his variant into the panel.